12 signs your brain is not healthy and how to improve it. This video is for educational purposes only, so please speak with your doctor if you have any of the following symptoms. Number 1 is recurrent headaches. Everyone gets a headache when they don't get enough sleep or they're dehydrated. However, if you're getting headaches more than 10 days out of the average month, this is a positive sign that something is wrong. You may be getting frequent headaches because your brain is not receiving enough blood flow and oxygen. This is a very common problem in people with high or low blood pressure, or if they have low blood cell count, which is anemia. 2. Waking up too often. If you frequently wake up in the early hours of the night, you're overthinking and you can't get back to sleep. This is likely caused by high levels of cortisol, a stress hormone which causes the brain to shrink. If you aren't getting enough deep, slow-wave sleep each night, the hypothalamus does not have chance to balance out your stress hormones, which causes more of your brain cells to die over time. 3. Brain fog. If parts of the brain are shrinking because of low blood flow, stress, lack of sleep, or insulin resistance, you'll struggle to concentrate and think clearly during the day, particularly in the morning. This happens more often in people who eat lots of sugar and refined carbohydrates. Your brain cells start to resist these carbohydrates and then they begin to starve. You will have problems forming connections and thinking clearly if this is the case. Later in the video, I'll talk about how you can improve these problems. Sign number 4, mood swings. Have you ever noticed that you're feeling absolutely fine when suddenly your mood shifts and you suddenly become anxious, moody, or easily triggered for no reason? This could be because your blood sugars are out of balance, and this is causing your brain cells to starve of fuel and oxygen, which is affecting your mood. Also, a leaky blood-brain barrier may allow toxins to enter the brain, which can make you more sensitive to stress. This can easily be improved by correcting your diet and using specific targeted supplements for the brain. 5. Depression. In my experience, depression is usually caused by long-term suppressed fear, stress, and anxiety that's become too hard to bear. This can put your brain chemicals all out of balance, like dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine. So you begin to feel lifeless with no motivation or drive. You'll feel tired most of the time, but there may be a sense of guilt underneath. Studies show that people with depression usually have inflammation in the brain. To get rid of depression, it's important to readjust your thinking patterns and also use herbal remedies to help balance out your neurotransmitters. Number 6 is dizziness. If you find yourself feeling dizzy quite often, this could also be caused by poor cerebral blood flow to the brain. Dizziness and a lack of balance is more common in people who are low in vitamin B12 or heme iron, and this causes them to have enlarged red blood cells that don't carry oxygen properly to the brain. 7. Anxiety. Panicking about losing your belongings, persistent fear of the unknown, or overthinking when you should be sleeping are all symptoms of anxiety, which means your brain is locked into the fight or flight mode. Having an overactive part of your brain called the amygdala may be causing you to feel anxious and stressed out. By the way, you may want to watch my video called The Top 6 Vitamins for Anxiety if this is your particular problem. 8. Slow learning. Now, to take in new information, to learn quickly and to make connections, you need healthy transmission of nerve impulses in your brain. But if you find it hard to make these connections and to learn, you may have a deficiency in acetylcholine, or perhaps your brain is sluggish because it's not getting enough energy because of insulin resistance. 9. Can't keep still. If you find yourself constantly fidgeting, unable to sit still, or you have an overwhelming need to move, this could also be a sign that there is a hormonal imbalance in the brain, such as high cortisol levels, or perhaps an imbalance with dopamine or norepinephrine. This kind of irritation is also very common in patients with ADD or ADHD. Number 10 is language problems. The average person loses 20 to 30% of their brain cells as they reach their 80s, but this can happen much earlier in people who have an unhealthy brain. You may begin struggling to understand spoken or written language, or find it harder to communicate as it becomes harder to find the words that you're trying to say. 11. Short-term memory loss. Sometimes, if the brain isn't getting the nutrients that it needs, the hippocampus begins to shrink. This causes you to forget things that you've recently taken in, but your long-term memory may be fine. Regular exercise and loading up on a natural form of vitamin B1 may help to protect your hippocampus from shrinking further. And 11 is being tired all the time. If you feel constantly tired all of the time, even after a full night's sleep, you may have chronic fatigue syndrome. This often happens when your brain isn't getting the nutrients that it needs, or perhaps it's been overworked because of chronic stress or other hormonal imbalances. Be aware that everyone may have some of these symptoms from time to time, but it's more of a problem when they're long-term issues that don't go away. An unhealthy brain can ruin your quality of life and put you at a higher risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease. The good news, however, is that the brain is capable of building new brain cells through neurogenesis, as long as you make the right changes to your diet and lifestyle. But why is my brain unhealthy? So before we look into how you can improve the health of your brain overall, it's important to know why it's not working properly in the first place. First of all, eating too many processed carbohydrates and sugary foods causes insulin resistance in the brain, which makes your brain cells starve and begin to die. High levels of stress and cortisol also causes parts of the brain to shrink, such as the hippocampus, which causes memory and sleeping problems. Not getting enough quality sleep disrupts the brain's ability to repair and detoxify chemicals, which can cause more stress, irritation, and poor concentration. Head injuries, such as a football hitting the head as a child, may cause long-lasting brain damage well into old age. Toxins like heavy metals and pollutants can damage the brain cells as well, causing cognitive decline. And vegetable oils are highly unstable when they're cooked, and they cause oxidative damage and inflammation in the brain. If you have a leaky blood-brain barrier, this may also allow harmful toxins to enter your brain and cause damage. A lack of key nutrients like omega-3s, vitamin D or B vitamins can reduce the number of communication particles in the brain, and poor blood flow because of a circulation problem can starve the brain of its much needed oxygen and nutrients. How to grow new brain cells. If you've experienced some of the symptoms in today's video and you'd like to improve the health of your brain, there are certain things that you can do to multiply your brain cells and improve connections between the neurons. Brain supplements. I suggest using a high-quality nootropic supplement daily which contains a blend of natural brain-boosting ingredients. Personally, I use a brand that's called MindLab Pro, which is pre-formulated and full of natural ingredients that help to boost brain cells. I find that it greatly helps me to focus and think more clearly when I'm writing health videos like this one. This particular supplement is backed up by clinical studies and shown to help improve brain focus, memory, mood, energy, motivation, and longevity. In the blend is some pine bark extract and citicoline, which improves blood flow to the brain directly. I'll put a link down below to this if you'd like more information on this supplement. Aerobic exercise. Getting regular aerobic exercise is the number one thing you can do to boost the number of brain cells and prevent brain shrinkage with age. Exercise triggers the production of IGF-1 and VEGF. These are growth factors which help your brain to form new blood vessels and grow new brain cells. Brain training. Encourage your brain to make new connections by taking a course, learning new skills, solving puzzles, and reading. Brain training boosts neuroplasticity and helps to revive parts of the brain that may have shrunk. Seafood. Start eating oily fish that are rich in DHA and EPA daily, such as sardines, wild salmon, mackerel, anchovies, and shellfish. These provide the raw materials that are needed to repair damaged brain tissue and build new nerves and neurotransmitters. Please make sure that you're getting at least 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep to balance out cortisol and repair your brain cells. If you aren't, I recommend using tryptophan before bed, taking some magnesium, or using a sleep blend like Performance Lab Sleep. Fasting. Eat only 2 meals a day within a strict 6-hour window, drinking only water outside of this time period. Intermittent fasting stimulates brain-derived neurotropic factor, which stimulates the growth of new brain cells. It also makes your cells more sensitive to insulin, helping your brain to accept more glucose in order to make energy. Sunlight. It's vital to get outside and expose your skin to the sunlight to raise vitamin D and melatonin levels naturally. These are both hormones which protect the brain against neurodegenerative diseases and also lower inflammation. Avoid vegetable oils. Avoid foods that contain, are cooked or fried in vegetable oils such as corn oil, canola, soy, cottonseed, rapeseed, etc. Vegetable oils are highly unstable and they become oxidized, which kills brain cells. Saturated fat. I recommend replacing the vegetable oils with some more stable fats that contain shorter chained fatty acids like virgin coconut oil or grass-fed butter. Saturated fats contain butyrate and MCTs, which directly feed brain cells with an alternative fuel source. This new fuel source actually bypasses damaged tissues and helps damaged brain cells to repair and recycle themselves. Low carb. Follow a healthy version of the ketogenic diet and cut your carbohydrates down periodically to less than 50 grams a day. This reduces neuroinflammation, improves blood flow, memory, concentration, thinking, and sleep. Choline. Start eating more foods rich in choline like egg yolks, organ meats, fish, and blueberries. This is a raw material nutrient used by your body to build acetylcholine, a very important neurotransmitter needed for proper brain function. Magnesium L-threonate. If you suffer from severe stress, anxiety, sleep problems, or depression, I highly recommend taking a form of magnesium that can cross the blood-brain barrier called magnesium L-threonate. Ideally, you want around 3,000 milligrams per day, spread out into 3 doses. This has been shown to enhance learning and promote the growth of new neurons in the hippocampus. Summary. Your brain uses 20% of all of the energy in your body and needs exercise and the right nutrients to work properly. If you're eating too many junk foods, you can't sleep, you're chronically stressed, or you have poor circulation, your brain may not be getting what it needs, so it begins to shrink and neurons begin to die. You can boost your brain health by getting more exercise, taking nootropics like MindLab Pro or magnesium L-threonate, and avoid inflammatory foods to bring down